Yo, it's been a while since I updated you guys on what's going on with the project, what's going on with Poppy. And yeah, I've just been coding. I've just been doing business stuff. As you can tell by my hair, there's just been a lot going on. We have a lot of things kind of in the works. Yo, it's Benjo 1 month later. I wanted to very quickly just upload this video because I recorded it end of October and I never really uploaded it. I've just been producing really high quality videos with editing, lifestyle, etc. And I just felt like this one was just too much features, not too interesting. But because of that, I just haven't been posting because I just didn't feel like what am I supposed to post? I'm just coding. Like I've been writing a lot of code and I've been really improving the platform. So this video is just kind of like an in-betweener. I'm going to San Francisco tomorrow. It's gonna be super interesting. That trip is not related to Poppy, which is the platform I'm showing you in this video, but different ventures. Anyhow, Poppy is doing great. We're on a good trajectory and we're just consistently improving the platform and getting more and more customers on. So a lot more has come to the platform. We have templates. You guys can start using it now. Yeah, that's basically it. So enjoy the video and I'll see you soon. Like we're waiting on the company structure. We're waiting on, for example, the company to be established and we're waiting on the website to be finished. So there's a few things kind of up in the air that we're waiting on, but we've got the platform kind of good, better. I've been making platform improvements, so yeah, no, things have been moving. So I'm still making progress. We're still kind of moving the needle. I've been doing mostly development and improving the platform while the rest of the guys have been focused on company structure, sales and leads and websites are being taken care of. Like we need our landing page. We're still waiting on that. But once that's live and the company structure is in place, we can then create the new Stripe account, which then we will have invoicing. I built out automated invoicing in the software, and based on the amount of traffic that you have for that billing cycle, you will be billed accordingly. So we have pricing up to a certain amount. So say you have less than 20,000 visitors per month, you pay X amount. If you go over that, even by one, you're now on the next tier, and then you pay for that tier. So yeah, we have that in place. All we need is just a Stripe, but in order to create the new Stripe, we need a new business. And so there's all these kind of waiting things we have to do. But I've been really dabbling into the designer and making it a lot nicer, and I'm gonna show you right now what I mean. Right, so you probably remember this. This is the designer that I built, and it's very buggy. It doesn't really work that much, and sometimes it bugs out where if you add a border here and you try to change the color to something else, like sometimes it bugs out and changes the entire, like that. So it just removes the styles and everything else for every step that's not the one you're on. This is not very reliable, so there's been a lot of bugs like this that I needed to solve, but by doing that, I also kind of took on the bigger challenge of really just narrowing down and fixing the entire thing. And that includes everything from performance to kind of user experience improvements and all the kind of in-betweeners. So for example, things like this dragging and how it looks in the sidebar here and adding more elements, how you drag them in, all these kinds of things, cloning and even updating text. So say I want to like update this text, I have to actually go to the right side here, in the right side panel here, and update the text here. There's no way for me to like double click the text and change it, and there's no way for me to, even if I look at these styles, I can't really tell what I've applied. Like I've done 80% width, there's no color, there's no section here that kind of says that I've done that. Here, why is this section highlighted, but there's no values? And if I remove this, it removes the width here. So there's all these kind of like weird bugs that, because I built this so fast, will naturally kind of occur because of that, right? Another thing is whenever I click on some text, like say I click on this button here, for example, you see how I have the background set and I have padding and stuff, but it doesn't actually show the padding. And I have typography, you can kind of see text color. But if I click on the same button on the bigger device here, or the bigger viewport, none of those styles are actually showing. So it's not showing any of the styles that it's inheriting from the smaller viewport, which is another user experience problem. You want to see what is going on, like what have I changed or what can I change? Say I want to change the background now, you can, but you can't really tell that you already have this property set on the smaller device. So it works and it does what you think it would do, but it's just really bad user experience. Now, I fixed all of these problems with the new designer and I'm about to show it right now. Say hello to the new designer for Poppy. I'll switch now to a on screen so you can see my face while I'm going through this. I wanted to show you kind of the difference because there is a very drastic difference here. The elephant in the room, I changed the designer to be completely dark mode. The reason I did that is because I wanted this sort of wow effect. So the rest of the dashboard is just completely light mode. When you go into this designer, I want you to feel like whoa, I'm actually in some sort of a really magical interface where all my dreams can happen. Super corny, but yeah. Everything, even from navigating around here, is now super snappy, and you can use your fingers to zoom, pinch like that, and pan with 2 fingers on the keyboard. You couldn't do this before. So this is another sort of improvement to make the user experience flow feel really, really good and smooth. And that's one thing I think is very important. You don't want a designer like this to feel super non-reactive to what you do. You want it to feel natural, to move around and click things and all these things. Now, if I click on the element here, for example, the title, you will see that I have width actually added in this section, and I can remove the width on this one by clicking the label and resetting it. And I can then change the width again. It will by default be pixels, but we can change it to something like percentage, and we go back to the same thing, or I think it was 80% or something. Now, another thing we can do is you see how it says text? Now it's more clear what you're changing to it. If I change this to be like title, you will see that, oh, this is the title for this viewport. As opposed to before, I can actually double click and, hey, don't miss out on this mystery gift or something, right? I can change it right here without having to go to the sidebar. And that's another huge step. Same thing with buttons. Hello world. Everything can be changed here. And that's a user experience improvement where it feels really natural. It feels like this is how it's supposed to work. Like your expectation is, I want to double click it to change the text. All the kind of updates to styles, etc. You can see the sidebar as you're hovering your mouse here. It will show you those indentation lines. So it's more clear where exactly elements are, because we didn't have that before. You can move between steps back and forth here, kind of reorder the steps if you want. As you can tell, that feels a lot more snappy than it did before. It's all kinds of tooltips to help. What does this button here do? Oh, it duplicates it. Oh, okay, cool. So one thing you might remember from the old designer is, say you change the background on one of these, you actually have to update on every single one because there's no shared styles. So that's a new thing that I put in here as well, a shared style. So you can click this button, for example, and you can create a new style, call it like button. Totally is up to you what you want to call this. And now you can see that I've created this button, and there's currently one element on the page that's using this. If I click these buttons now and I add them to this shared style, I'll do that for all of these, you will see that they will update in real time. And if I now start changing the color, look at that. All of them are changing, and sidebar looks a lot smoother, a lot nicer sort of UI on these. And say you want rounded corners on these, TL is top left, I can say 25 pixels on top left, and you will now see that they're all doing that. Or if you don't want to change the individual size, you can change all corners, and it applies it immediately. And you will see now, if I click on this button here, you will see that all of these are blue. Blue means that you've changed it on this viewport. Now, if I click the button on the larger viewport, you will see the background, first of all, turns kind of orangey, just to indicate that you're on a larger device. So all the changes will only be applied to this viewport and above. Now, I'll show you another thing. It says the same warning here, but notice how all of the same styles are showing on the larger viewport, which they didn't before, but they're orange. And if you click on this, it will say inherited from smaller viewports. So now immediately you know all of the styles that have been set on another viewport. What does this mean? Well, if I change it here and I change the color to a green one, for example, you will now see that the color is blue. That means we've overridden the inherited style. I can go back, you'll see that it's still blue. I click this one and now it's green. And I can reset this blue back to the original inherited style, and it will show that. So you will also see in the sidebar for the elements that are using a shared style, so you know very easily that this thing right here will change based on the style. And it's the same thing down here. If you want this button to be the same style, you'll go up and add the button there, and it will have the same style like across all the different viewports. A lot of really nice improvements. Dragging things around is a lot smoother too. If you want like this text here to be above that one, just drag it above. Same thing like that. Like things are a lot more snappy than it was before. And yeah, that's kind of a very quick walkthrough on what we have here. And yeah, as you might see here, we have like a preview button here, which will just take it to your site, and you will see how this variant looks on your site. So that's kind of the changes I've made here. And I spent a week just narrowing down and turning it into this. And I'm very happy with this, man. Looks a lot nicer. So yeah.